In times like these, you have a lot of questions, and we are trying to get an answer to each and every one. This time around, we're talking stimulus and how it could interact with your tax money, which is why we are talking to Mark Hensley, the Associate State Director for AARP, the North Carolina Triad region, and Scott Braddock from Scott Braddock Financial. If you have a stimulus-related question, all you have to do is text that question. Again, this is a text, 336-379-5775. They'll both be here until 6 o'clock tonight. Remember, this is a text, not a call. All right, let's start off with the number one question, which is, Mark, is there going to be a second round of stimulus money?
Round two for stimulus payments hangs in the balance. This is being debated in Congress. There are lots of opinions that it looks positive, but they have not made a final decision, and we don't expect that decision to be made anytime soon. Probably sometime in July after the unemployment payments have expired.
So if you're thinking, I really need that money and I need it right now, don't be looking for something to happen quickly. We have not seen any indication that that is about to happen. All right, Scott, let's have you take this one. This person is texting, if you received a stimulus check for someone who died 4 days before the check arrived, can you still deposit the check in the account for the estate?
Well, what they're telling us now is that they do expect that money to be returned. So if you have already deposited that into the account, you're going to end up having to send that money back. So we don't want to spend that. If you're holding on to the check still, what you want to do is make sure you write void on that check, and there are instructions on returning that back to the the IRS department for the state. So we do have clear information now that that money is to be returned.
I mean, there's always that thing is if you spend it, you have to know that you might be paying it back to the IRS later on.
That's right, and that of course puts you in a much tougher spot. You know, a lot of folks are still struggling to be fully employed. And so, 2 months from now, when you might hear from the IRS on that payment, of course, it could be longer, you might find yourself in an even tougher situation to pay that back. And we certainly don't want the IRS on top of us in the midst of everything else that's going on right now.
No, you sure don't. Mark, this person is texting this question. Can you explain why so many people have gotten their stimulus, but others still haven't? I'm one of those people that still has not received a check.
Well, this is actually one of about 38 million people in the United States that have not received a payment. Now, we've talked about the deployment schedule for checks. So the first round were direct deposits. Then there were the debit cards. And now there are checks that are being deployed not based on geography, not based on last name, or they are based on income. So depending on the person's income, and I know on the website, Tanya, you have a schedule that this is going to go on for several months till probably about the end of August. So if you haven't received that payment and you think your income is within receiving the full amount, so $75,000 or less, go to irs.gov and click on the button, Get My Payment. That's where you can check the status. There's also a 800 toll-free number to call the IRS. But I spent a lot of time on that toll-free number today,
Yes.
And I recommend you use the website.
Yes, I have called that toll-free number as well, and we will give it to you throughout this next half hour. But I do want you to know that many times people say they cannot get a human being. I was able to get a human being once, but that is not always the way that it works. And so we want to minimize the frustration here. All right. Scott, let's have you answer this question. This person says, if my son claimed me on his taxes as a dependent, will I get a stimulus check?
Well, my understanding there is that if you are claimed as a dependent on someone else's return and you're over the age of 17, that you're not entitled to even the $500 stimulus check. I haven't heard anything different over the last few weeks. I don't know if Mark has, but I would throw that to him if so. But no, that seems to be the case there.
Yeah, I know
Scott
you have talked
exactly
about
right.
that, about the adult dependents kind of being left out of this mix.
That is correct.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so let's move on. Someone is asking this question. Can you explain why Social Security or SSI, they say they were supposed to be getting that, the payment earlier on, but I haven't been able to get that. Is there something wrong? What should I do?
This falls into that category of those glitches of people that still haven't received their payment. Again, I would go to the irs.gov website and click Get My Payment to get a status report to see if that's actually been sent out as a debit card. We have heard reports of people getting the debit card, thinking it was junk mail, and tossing it or shredding it. There is information on WFMY's website about how you can report that if you think that you have thrown that debit card away that has your payment. But there are still people waiting to receive a check, a debit card, and you can check your status at irs.gov.
Well, since you brought that up, we do have video of what the debit card looks like and what the envelope looks like, because so many people were saying it just comes in a plain white envelope. So this is it right here. And it does not say IRS. It has a different bank on the return address. So you might think, oh, this is a credit card that I didn't ask for. But no, this is the Visa card that is your debit card for your stimulus payment. And when you open it up, you see that there's the letter there and it tells you that it's your stimulus payment, but nowhere even on the card does it say IRS. And I think a lot of people just kind of thought, oh, okay, this isn't what I asked for, so they chucked it. But there is a way, Mark, for them to be able to say, hey, I think I threw this out.
Yes, there is. There's a couple of ways, actually. You can contact for a reinstatement of payment. Let me go through a couple of ways. If you think someone stole that, first of all, you would go to identitytheft.gov, because that is a form of identity theft. And if you did throw away that card and need to contact them to get a duplicate, there's an 800 number. And it is the IRS website, excuse me, it is a different number. It is 800-240-8100. That's 800-240-8100. And just let them know at the Treasury that you're pretty sure you threw your card away and they'll issue you a new one.
Okay.
There's no fee with that either.
There's no fee with the stimulus debit card, because a lot of people were asking, will they be able to track it, or does it charge me to make purchases? And it does not charge to make purchases. Is that correct?
Yeah, just to be clear, no fees to use the card, no fees to transfer the money from the card to your bank or at the ATM. And in addition to that, if you need to have your card reissued, there's no fee to have that done either.
Also good news, especially if you think that you might have thrown it away.